Hey guys, are you like me? Just a guy in a basement growing mushrooms? If you are, then you're probably also like me and you're kind of ready to make some real face to face friendships with fellow Myco enthusiasts, right? Well, stick around. Tonight, we're diving into the recent MycoTreks adventure in Xalapa, Mexico, where 30 mushroom lovers came together for a vacation unlike any other. Discover how MycoTreks not only offers thrilling explorations of new destinations, but we also create a safe and exciting space for building lifelong friendships. Tonight, you're going to tune in to hear captivating stories from this unforgettable journey and find out why in person connections are at the heart and soul of our Myco community.
You're listening to the MycoGeeky Podcast, a podcast that inspires people to grow mushrooms at home to improve their mental, emotional, and physical health. Most people call him geeky, and he is a passionate mushroom cultivator, advocate, and educator. Every week, he sits down with fellow cultivators, mushroom educators, scientists, and therapists to discuss the various ways people can approach mushroom cultivation and how mushrooms can be used to improve their lives.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the MycoGeeky Podcast, the podcast that goes deep so you can level up your at-home mushroom cultivation game. I'm your host, MycoGeeky. We're doing a cool show tonight, guys. We're going to chit-chat with a bunch of people. It's one of them roundtable episodes. Everybody likes those. We're live. We're doing a roundtable. What what more could you possibly want? Talking with a bunch of Myco people. So right after Mexico, I did a quick little episode hyping up MycoFest, talk with Appalachian Ash, and then had Dichotomous Keys on, just let him give a little bit of perspective on how that trip was for him. I got a few more people tonight. We're gonna meet everybody, and then we're gonna bring everybody on, and we're just gonna kind of powwow and try to give everybody a sense of what the trip was like from their perspective. So let me just real quick shout out Stealthy Spores. If you guys want to get one of those decks, winter spring deck, or both, whatever you want to get, use promo code Geeky. You get 10% off. And then that little kickback that I get, that's gonna go to the Myco Mamas for their mycelium revolution. I don't even know how much money I've sent their way yet, but slow and steady wins the race, right? So anyway, today I did a thing. So before this trip to Mexico, I don't know why this popped in my head. Probably because I'm like a old middle-aged man going through a midlife crisis or something like that. But I got this idea. I was like, oh man, geeky, like you should do a song. You should do a promo song to promote this trip. It'll be so fun. And so I did it. I had about, I forget, over 7 days, less than 10 days, somewhere around there, put a little energy into it, made a song. And then I had high hopes on the trip that I was going to be able to do all these little recording shots, cool shots, all none of that worked out, but I snuck away a few times. I did record a little something and managed to slap it all together and turn it into a music video. So if you guys want to hear me spit bars, I do that. I got a little song you can take a listen to. Just check out the Instagram. I'll put it in the link in the description after the show's done. Anyway, it's tongue in cheek, guys. I don't think I'm like 50 Cent. I didn't get shot 9 times. I'm just having fun making music. It's that simple. So not here trying to act like I'm Pac or Biggie or any of those guys. Just a dude who wanted to have a little fun. So anyway, check it out. I think it's pretty fun. And then what else? There was one more thing I was going to mention. What was it? Oh, maybe never mind. We're not talking about that. Okay. We'll talk about that maybe next week. So we went to Mexico. I think we had about 30 of us, and I had a good time. I mean, I had a lot to do. I had a lot of responsibilities, but I still had an absolute blast. And of course, I'm going to say that, right? I'm invested in it. I'm not going to tell you it sucked. So instead of hearing from me tell you how much I love the trip, I thought we should bring some people who actually went on the trip to kind of give their 2 cents. So I'm gonna go one by one through some of the guests I got queued up here tonight, and then we're gonna roundtable. We'll bring everybody on. I got a few questions, and we can just kind of help paint a picture of what that trip was like. All right. So first up, I had a request from, she's gonna go by, we're gonna call her MycoTreks guest. I'm gonna pull her up first by request. All right. What is up, MycoTreks guest? How you
Hey,
doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
All right. Well, your audio and video worked flawlessly during sound check. I was super, super excited about that. How about we do this? Give me a lowdown. I just want to know how this trip hit your radar and why you decided to go.
How it hit my radar, I watch your podcast weekly. I'm friends of Michael Mamas, and so it was just out there, and I'm not a forager at home, and I never have time for it. So I figured, okay, let's go on this trip, and then I can meet a bunch of people and learn a lot of stuff.
Awesome.
So
All right. So did you learn
I
anything?
did.
You?
I
Okay.
learned a lot. I
Awesome.
did learn a lot, and I had a great time.
Nice. Did you, I want to highlight this. You, and I have to thank you for this. You talked one of your friends into going on this trip as well.
I
So thank you
did.
much. I don't think he regretted it. I think
No,
it's of his life. But
no.
cool that you were like, yeah, come along. And he said, yes, he's not here tonight, but that's okay. So yeah, you had a good time. I'm so glad. I'm glad you learned something. I'm gonna just we're gonna whip through everybody and then we're gonna bring everybody on. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. All right. So next up. All right. All right. So I'm gonna bring on a youngster. I think he's working with limited time here. So I'm gonna bring him on while we got him. Sorry, I just got a call through there. Okay. All right. What's up, Jordan?
What's up, Geeky? How you doing?
Man, I'm just sitting in my basement in my ranch home in suburbia.
Let's go.
Doing a podcast about mushrooms and all that good stuff. Yes.
Nice.
So, all right, man. I can tell you this. You drove for us. So first off, thank you for doing that.
So this is a biased take, by the way, guys. Totally biased take because I was a driver. So
he was a driver. We did pay him for that. So I definitely appreciate that. So what was it like for you? Because I mean, I'm an old man. I'm probably old enough to be your dad. So like, how was it for you? Did you have a good time?
I had a blast, man. I had a blast, and I heard you guys talking about, I forget who you guys were talking about, but you were saying like, oh, this person so and so is they're kind of green, they're kind of green, so they're kind of new to all this. They're kind of green, I think is the term you guys used. And I've got to say, I was, as you probably guessed, as you probably pieced together, I don't know if I even ever told you, but I was very green to this. I was very new. I do not know a lot about mycology. I don't know a lot about mushrooms, other than those that I've eaten, both recreationally and culinary wise, right? Like I don't know much about mushrooms. So, to me, it was really neat to go on this trip. I learned so much, experienced so much, and just had a blast, like getting to know some amazing people. And not to mention, I mean, for me, just going to Xalapa was what a place, right? I mean, that is
Xalapa, dude.
Yeah, yes. It's insane, dude. Oh my God, so cool. Just
how many days go by without thinking about that place? For me, not many. I'm always thinking about what I would be doing in Xalapa this afternoon if I was there.
I know. Mainly the food, right? Mainly the food.
Food's pretty great.
Food's amazing.
Cool, man. Well, glad you had a good time. I'm gonna keep it going, and we'll talk in a bit.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. So next up. All right. We got Tito Lulu in the house. I'm gonna tell you right now, hands down, one of my favorite ladies on this trip. She showed up. She didn't know what she was getting herself into. She came by way of my buddy Don King, who she only came because her partner had gone on a bunch of forays with Don and was like, hey, if Don's going to Mexico, I'm going to Mexico. But you showed up, you did all the things, you rolled up your sleeves, you participated fully. And my favorite moment was when you came up to me and you were like, Geeky, I want a name. I don't call me my regular name. That's boring. I want one of these cool Myco names like you guys have. So Tito Lulu it is. We got Tito Lulu in the house. All right. So I guess I just sort of outed how you found out about the trip. So I don't need to hear that. But I really want to hear, tell me how it felt for you from day one or even before we left to just how did that whole trip feel for you?
Oh, Geeky, it was a magical trip. It was a magical trip from the get-go. And I have to give it to MycoTreks, to you and your two partners. You took care of us like no kidding. We were so well taken care of. We're so excited to be together tonight because we're all missing each other. We gelled so well. And Mexico is so incredibly beautiful, splendid to be in the cloud forest. The rich, colorful history of Mexico, and you found the most amazing place for us to stay. And believe me, I was such a novice. I knew really very little about mushrooms, and no kidding, you had the patience of Job, all of you, answering all my questions. And all of these participants, they are like, no kidding, they have such knowledge. I think you have the most amazing people gathered on this trip. The experience is like, wow, out of this world. No, all different walks of life, but creative artists, beautiful people that we just had such a wonderful time together. The scenery was out of this world, walking in the mountains, in the cloud forest, and the wildlife and the food, the culture, introducing us to local people who are mycologists and knew where to find the mushrooms. I mean, you hooked us all up and took care of us like no kidding. And it speaks to your organization, the partnership the three of you had to organize this and to ensure that we all just had like a really magical, splendid time together.
Okay, I know who I'm going to for my advertisements in the future. I'm going to Tito Lulu. Yes. I'm glad. We do want that. I mean, like I've said this on the podcast before, I was raised to leave a place better than I found it. And also, if somebody gives me money for something, I don't want to meet expectations, right? I want to exceed expectations. So we cared. We want you guys to have a good time, and I am so glad that you did. And you definitely make me feel like we accomplished that. So thank you. All right, so I'm gonna keep it going, and we'll pull you back in here in a minute. Who do I got next? All right. All right, I'm gonna pull up one of my favorite names on the trip. He's going by Michael Risel. All right, what's up, Michael Risel?
Hey, buddy, doing pretty good.
Hey, man. So first off, I just want everybody to know that nothing brought me more joy on this trip than saying, hey, where are the Risels at? As a cultivator, that was fun. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, puns are one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Never got old. All right, so I have, and we haven't put it on the MycoTreks Instagram yet, but one of the iconic photos that came out from Rolling Lens Photography, who was on the trip with us, was a picture of you on the absolute freaking edge of this, dormant or extinct volcano.
Yeah.
Just like embracing the totality of this amazing place we were at. It was so epic.
It was a
I
spiritual
feel
place.
like you were quiet. You didn't tell me. You were not telling me if you were having a good time. I think you were,
Oh, I was
but
having
I
a
need to
blast.
hear it from you. How was this trip for you?
It was life changing. It really was. It was interesting because I had heard about the trip, and it was just stuck in that category of I don't really have enough money to do that. Never been out of the country before. Don't have a passport. I'll do that next year. And then you aired the episode with Cougar, and just something called me. I needed to go and meet him and be on this trip with you guys because like my whole life has been called toward healing.
Mm-hmm.
I do Reiki, and like I have started like a little herbal supplement company. I guess it has microdosing and all that stuff and everything you'd want from it. But I've just always been called toward that healing art of whatever kind,
Yeah.
and this felt like a healing event. It really did. I mean, even with philosophy mushrooms, it's there's a lot of healing to be done there, and I've really been called toward that kind of thing. And the sweat lives that we did there was
All right.
amazing.
Don't let the
Like
cat out of the bag. We're going to talk about that later. Yes, yes,
okay,
yes.
I'll be quiet
Yeah.
about that.
Okay.
But I'll tell you that that's part of the whole change of my life that happened, and then we could talk about that later.
Okay. I like it. All right,
Yeah.
man. Thank you so much. Let's do the life changing. I feel like I don't want to give away the life changing just yet. I'm trying to get good at saving those moments for the
Right.
end. So let's save that one.
I'll just wrap it up with this. Like I have changed my cultivation style to other species for a few years now, and I went there for that.
Oh, okay.
And I was strongly rewarded with that.
Isn't it just an astounding experience to just see
It's
them right
amazing to
there
meet
doing what they do? Yes.
in person,
Yeah.
in mushroom.
Agreed. Yeah. And I remember we had one particular really special place where I just saw you scurrying around, taking photos, taking measurements, and I was like, yes, I'm glad he's doing this. He's got the tackle box out, he's doing all the stuff. So it was great to
Yeah.
see.
I mean,
Nice.
after 20 years, you really want to be into it as much as you can. If you've been doing it for 20 years, you love it. And every aspect you can gather about it is gold.
Love it. Cool, man. All right. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to keep it going and then we'll pull you back on in a minute. All right. Well, since he mentioned Cougar, let's pull him on. All right. What's up, Cougar?
Hey, man. What's up?
Nada. Just another Myco day. It's another Myco day. You and I have already, we've discussed a few Myco incidents for the day, but tonight we're here to talk about, the trip. So first off, you and I and Don and Natural State, we already hung out in Mexico before.
Yep.
And you've done quite a bit of traveling yourself. So what compelled you to go on this trip with us?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of big reasons. One reason was the trip that we met on, in my opinion, could have been better.
Okay.
We kind of narrowly missed some windows, and things like that. So first of all, kudos to the three of y'all for deciding for us to return there for the launch of y'all's company. Because
It's a great place.
To me, man,
Yes.
That's the ultimate justice right there,
I hear you. Yeah, it's a great place. I just wanted to explore more of it. We
did, and had great weather for it and all of that. But at any time getting out to areas like that, or where you can find not just the actives, but I mean there were fungi everywhere. There's orchids everywhere. There's there's so many things that have been, so many plants that have been in my wheelhouse for, 30 years or better, that it's cool to see everything like that in one place. I didn't have to go to 3 countries to see all this stuff. In fact, we didn't even have to cover really any of Mexico. We're all in one area, and
It's
it
everywhere.
really
Yes.
is. What do they call it? Pueblos Mágicas.
Yeah.
One
It's
of
a
the
magical
Pueblos.
city. Yep.
It
Pueblos
truly
Magica.
is.
Yeah.
So I mean, my main reason for going was just to continue to explore that beautiful area with some friends that I made on another trip. And man, to say that you didn't disappoint just doesn't quite cover it.
Thanks, man. I had a blast. It was fun. I mean, it's like what do they say? When you're young, right? There's you do all these cool things when you're young, and then there's an age where you start wanting to do them with other people. You want to share in a great experience. And it is definitely great to share the experience with other people, for sure. I agree.
That definitely, to use your terminology, levels it up.
Nice. Cool, man. All right, dude. Well, we'll I got one more guest here to get, or 2 more guests to get through, and then I'll bring you back on and we're gonna powwow.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So next up, last but not least, another one of our Myco power couples here. All right. Jen and Alex, what's up, guys?
Hey.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, Jen and Alex, they're from my neck of the woods. They are super gracious, super awesome people. When Happy Hyphae and I were trying to get up to the airport because their flight left really early, they offered to let us crash on their couch, their bed, and we took them up on that offer. So we got to meet early. It was great, and it was fun the whole rest of the time, as far as I'm concerned. But you guys found out about the trip because you guys had gone on some forays with Don King, correct?
Yep, correct.
Nice. And loved those. And when you heard, I'm assuming heard he was going to Mexico, you said, okay, we're going there with Don King.
Oh yeah, Don is such a knowledgeable person, and fortunately we found so many more knowledgeable people. We learned so much during this trip. It's fantastic.
All right, so like, what did you expect versus what you got? For you guys, I'm really curious your take on this.
Okay, so I've been foraging with Don King for like probably 10 years now. I used to do his camps. And so when I saw the ad, it was gourmets. And so I was like, thought we were going foraging for gourmets. It was our first get to know you round robin that we were like, there's more to this trip than what we expected.
I mean, we did find some gourmet mushrooms.
We did. Yes, we did. So, and that was not a disappointment, to be like, just to be clear. It was, so there was a shift in, I think, what we expected pretty early on, but also we really didn't know what to expect. So for me, I was very grateful to come back with, as Cougar likes to say, if you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, there's the 5 steps. I can tell you the 5 steps of making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich when it comes to the idea of growing mushrooms, but there are like the 20 steps in between step 1 and 2. And so I got little peeks into all of those windows and just hearing folks.
So, okay, let me ask you this, because I remember Don King asking me, saying, hey, Jen was asking for like a glossary of cultivation terminology or something like this ahead of time. And I was a little worried that you were going to feel a bit alienated, like too much cultivation talk. Did you feel like that? I honestly don't feel like we did too much of that, did we?
No, but for me, it was, so like in the first call, they're like, yeah, zaps. And I'm like, what are zaps? Right. So like very basic things. And so I was just looking for a cheat sheet of like just a general set of terms so that when you're all throwing different ideas around, I wasn't totally lost. I don't know, Alex, how about you? Did you?
I was completely in the dark. No, it was no. It felt very natural learning a process because between the three of you guys and then also the participants, it was just a very nurturing. I mean this in a very fun way. It was educational, but it didn't seem too academic, if that makes sense.
Right. I mean, I am not a professor at all, and nor would I be going on a vacation to Mexico and try to turn it into a classroom. So, yep, that was definitely a goal. But we want you to learn some stuff, and hopefully we exposed you guys to
yes, everybody was really gracious with questions. Nobody seemed to be like I one of the first nights, I think after Paul got there, he and female Kaz were chatting and they're like, and I was like, what are you guys talking about? And then they're like, yeah, and then there's a shoebox and you put these little you know, like doing all these things, and nobody, like, even when I would like, what are y'all talking about, or interject, people were, I think, really just gracious with answering my questions, and nobody seemed to be upset to be talking about their cultivation practices or answer somebody's question. So it was great.
Cool. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. You guys are the last intro group here, so I'm gonna pull everybody on. Here we go. All right, and then now, last but not least, I can't forget my business partners here, Natural State Mycology, Don King. All right, so now we got the Brady Bunch, full effect here. It's perfect. Yeah. Wait, what do I have to look down? How do I do
Don.
Yes. Don nailed it. Don nailed it. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks. It's cool to have everybody here. I definitely miss you guys. We had a blast as far as I'm concerned. Let's do this. Well, first off, I want to hear from Natural State and Don King. Like, you guys heard all this stuff. What's going through your minds right now?
Go ahead, Don. You know, besides the check is in the mail to some of you for your amazing endorsements. No, I'm yeah, I was really interested to hear from everybody. Really more interested to see everyone again, because as previously mentioned, it was a fun week. And yeah, I can't imagine it being a different group. You know, I can't imagine there being somebody there or not there that's here. But yeah, I was impressed with the knowledge of everybody and the enthusiasm of people who were seeking knowledge, for sure.
Marcus is in the chat or in the waiting room.
Oh, sweet.
Wait. Oh, I have to scroll down. I didn't see him. Hold on.
Oh, right. Rolling lens.
All right, guys, hold the presses.
Everybody back out. Everybody back out.
Here we go. All right. Brady Bunch is completely ruined now, but that's okay. All right. Welcome to the show. Rolling Lens Photography. You guys, if you started to see a few of the photos peeking out on the MycoTreks Instagram, you're going to see more and more of them in the coming weeks. We're trying to, just trying to roll them out slowly, give each of these photos a chance to breathe. This guy is a hell of a photographer. He can take a Coke bottle and make it interesting. He can also capture the essence of something that's impossible to really capture the totality of, but somehow he does capture it. He works out of Dallas, Texas, taking some of the most exciting urban photographs you're ever going to want to see. So when he said he wanted to come on the trip, I said, well, we want to pay you to take some photographs then. So it worked out great. Real quick, I know how you found the trip out. You watched the show, but how was it for you? Real quick before we move on. What did you think?
It was amazing. It was everything I expected and more. I wasn't sure who all was going to be there, what everyone was going to be like, but everyone clicked. Never for 1 second didn't feel welcome, and that was pretty cool on its own, especially going on a trip by myself. I don't really travel, without my partner, but yeah, it was rad.
Cool, man. All right, I didn't want to leave you out since you were a little bit late here. That's fine. Wanted
I was
to
doing
get in
genetic
that
work.
gotta get it done. You're like Ed Grant. He just just gonna sneak off and just go harvest a tub in the middle of a show. I love it. All right, guys. So let's do this. Somebody brought it up that they'd never been out of the country. How many people had been to Mexico before? All right, so a good number of people. How many people felt like you went to a part of Mexico or you got a vibe of Mexico you'd never gotten before, though? Okay, I definitely felt that way. I've been to like the basic.
Yeah, but we were there last year.
Traps,
so if you're counting that,
right? Well, yeah, of course we have, but I'm talking.
I thought you've been on this trip.
Yeah, so yeah, let's talk a little bit just about the region, what you guys loved, what you guys were surprised by, in general, of just where we took you. Whoever.
I was surprised that it was so urban, and yet just outside the city, it's such a beautiful landscape of farming and mountains. That was incredible to me.
Nice.
Yeah, the horseback riding trip when I got to ride the donkey.
That's epic.
That was wonderful. It was
that
fabulous.
photo is forthcoming for sure.
We went through that. We went through the smallest town, and I had to look it up, later when I got home, like how many people actually live in this town. And I think I saw all 263 of them on our ride through it.
Nice.
It's not every day they see a group of gringos go by on horses.
Yeah,
not a large group for sure.
It was the perfect time of the year too. I think a lot of the local villages had these really interesting celebrations, parading of saints, and also it was great mushroom weather. So I mean, we really lucked out the time of year. Just everything lined up perfectly. So that was fantastic.
I think
even the weather cooperated with us, because I mean, every day we were out there hiking and it was perfect. It was nice and cool. And then, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we're on the drive home and it starts pouring. So the weather totally cooperated with us.
Yeah, I was expecting more rain, and there really wasn't that much rain. At least not when we, there was rain. There was enough rain to create more mushrooms, but not the rain when we didn't want it, when we were out hiking and whatnot. So,
right.
Nice.
Yeah, you can usually count on those cloud forests. A lot of the rains are in the afternoon, but we really lucked out in the beginning of the week. It didn't. We weren't even getting the afternoon rains in the beginning, so couldn't. I thought I was going to be pulling out the rain jacket a little bit more, and I honestly think I only pulled it out. There was only one day I remember being out on a little foray, and I had to pull the jacket out. So
even on Salvaterra, I think we only had like maybe 2 people that donned their ponchos. Yeah, it just was.
And I took it right back off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. For all your camera gear. Yeah.
Explain Salvaterra to our guests who might not know what that is.
Oh yeah. Who wants to talk about our
NSM? Hit them up with it.
Go for it.
So who's doing it? Oh, yeah. Me. Okay. Go for it. So Salvaterra is atop a very high mountain outside of Jico. And basically it's a property that was purchased by 17 individuals or entities combined. And there is a really sweet lady and her partner who live at the top full time, and they have a little property up there that is pretty much self-sustaining. So they've got a couple really large veggie gardens. They have a neighbor who's a dairy farmer. And so basically to get up there, you can drive up to a certain point, and then from there you have to hike. And it's a minimum of like an hour and a half, pretty intensive hiking. It can get a lot worse when it pours rain, which luckily we kind of lucked out in that department. We really didn't get dumped on. So, but yeah, we hiked up there, and she and her partner cooked us a huge meal, and we ate with them and hung out for a while, and then hiked back down. So it was a pretty special experience. A lot of really rare psilocybe species in that area.
And that was, I mean, first off, it should be mentioned that we love this place. We love the cloud forests, but they are endangered, right?
Yeah.
Between, deforestation and global warming, both things are impacting. Cloud forests are literally only 1% of the global forest. Like if you account all the forested area in the world, cloud forest, 1%, not a lot. And I remember the woman who co-owns the reserve, she had said that when she first started living there to now, they used to not have to irrigate their crops at all because there were frequent and plentiful afternoon rains, and their annual precipitation could be close to 60 inches of rain. And she said lately, last couple years, she's had to start supplementing and actually irrigating her garden. That already in 10 years, she's noticed a difference. So it's it's a rare place. We got to do what we can to protect it, and people like her who are working together to save these precious regions. We got to help those people out.
Yeah, and raising knowledge and awareness about that place is really important. Like keeping it a secret's not great, because then they can't maintain it and sustain it. It's just not doable. So she expressed that she wants people to know about it and come stay there, and yeah, we
actually have somebody who went on the trip who's going back in October.
Yeah.
And is working with them. So these are the kind of relationships that I personally love seeing being built through these trips. It's the myceliation, it's the connecting people, connecting the dots, building those relationships. So that was a really cool experience in a really special private land, private area. What else did we do? Let's talk about, sorry, who was going to say something?
That was me. We had another wonderful experience with, seemed like a cooperative of all the families that gathered and then hosted us for the mushroom foraging.
Oh, yes.
Someone want to talk about that? That was a extraordinary experience.
Yeah, so we did 2 high altitude hikes on the trip. By the way, just so if anybody's not clear about this, the concept always was that we want to take people on vacation, but we want to take mushroom loving people on vacation. So we didn't always just do mushroom things, although we did a lot of mushroom things. But this particular high altitude hike we did with a local company called Hongos de Coffre. And, we found Amanita, we found huge boletes, and then this whole alpine village got together and cooked us their best mushroom dishes. How did you guys find that? That for me personally, I think was maybe my favorite day.
That's the best mushroom meal I have ever eaten in my entire life.
Cougar, I'm so happy you said that.
I mean,
earlier that day you had
this point,
guacamole, and you
I
said
mean, there were 10 dishes, give or take, and then there was black beans. Everything else was mushroom centric.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there was no duplication in spice. They were all different species. The first time I'd ever eaten, what was that, Caesars that we ate as
the Caesars,
tilapia? I've never eaten those that way before. So, I mean, that was an amazing trip just for the hike. And I knew we were going to have a mushroom meal, but man, I mean, I know this is the name of my company and all, but I say this word a lot. It was truly a phenomenal experience.
Oh yeah.
That is one of those high points that if any of us get to live long enough to have better than that, that's just astounding.
It was pretty good.
It was cool.
I'm not gonna lie. All right, so Don King, he is our culinary expert. How did you find those mushroom dishes?
Yeah, I was just thinking that was the first time I had ever eaten matsutake. So the pine mushroom, I think it's called. I'm not sure that there's like an edible variant in Ohio, but yeah, just all of these different mushrooms, just, I can't remember how many different species, but yeah, it was, and again, like Cougar was saying, everything tasted different. Like the color was different, right? Every single thing looked amazing. And then there were the homemade tortillas. We didn't even get into that because the mushrooms were so good. But yeah, no, I thought it was awesome. They're I guess they're making some kind of cookbook about all of their recipes, some kind of like mushroom taco cookbook. So we need to find out more about that.
Yes.
Yeah, we gotta sell a couple of their cookbooks for them for sure.
Yeah.
I need those recipes. Now, and then you guys also, so when we got there, we split up into groups, and I think it was Don King's group that found a really nice young Caesar mushroom, and then Don sliced it up. I had never had it raw before, so I think a lot of people got to experience the Caesar mushroom raw, which it's pretty bland. I'm not gonna lie. There's not a huge amount of flavor raw, but you could put that on a salad. You could dress it up with a little oil, and I bet that would be pretty tasty.
Yeah, a little olive oil, a little lemon juice, a little fresh thyme. That's pretty amazing.
Nice.
But yeah,
right.
Yeah, it was just so yeah, there's so much fun up there. Such great people and good times.
I just wanted to real quick, if I may, not to change the subject, but going back to Salvatierra, in contrast to Geeky, you were saying that your favorite day was when we went foraging, and then we had with Hongos de Cofre, and we had the mushroom dishes, and that was amazing. I mean, every day had something to offer that was really mind-blowing, but I gotta say, like, Salvatierra for me was, I mean, y'all don't understand, like, for those of you watching, the views, man, the views were astonishing, and it really did feel like, it was a nice, we had to earn our way up there, it was definitely a pretty grueling hike, especially for those of us who live at sea level or close to it, and not used to the altitude. It's pretty gnarly, and but man, was it rewarding, and Karen and it was just, they were phenomenal. The meal they cooked us was unbelievable. Up there as well, and even though it wasn't mushroom based, it was still just like all local ingredients sourced from like her and her partner's garden or her neighbor's garden, right? Like I think she was saying like the coffee and the eggs were from her neighbor, which is just crazy. Like the coffee, literally roasted right there in that region, and just incredible.
Well, they like cooked it all over open fire and stuff too.
Right. Yeah.
It was
amazing. It felt like something out of The Hobbit. I mean, it was
so cool.
It was crazy.
Paradise, man, paradise. They live in paradise.
Other than having to hike an hour and a half if you need something, that's the only maybe drawback, if you want to call that a drawback.
They did not renew their Amazon Prime subscription because Amazon Prime definitely does not go there.
No delivery. Yeah.
No.
Wanted to chime in real quick, guys.
Yeah.
Kind of to agree with Jordan. The Salvatierra hike was definitely something special. It's hard to compare any one day or experience to the next, but speaking of those 2 days, the Cofre de Hongos and Salvatierra both had an amazing lunch. It reminds me of when we went to Costa Rica last and did a hike to this waterfall, and afterwards went to this, it was supposed to be a restaurant, but it was just someone's house with like a couple of tables on the patio. And they were just feeding us basically in their home, up in the jungle, clouds, rain rolling through. I'm thinking there's no way this lunch is ever going to be topped, but Salvatierra was pretty incredible. And then the Cofre de Hongos for me was really special because I've never been into mushrooms, gourmet. I always shied away from when I was a kid. They just smelled funny, taste, just texture, whatever. In my older years, I've come around and become a bit more adventurous eater. And I tasted every dish they had to offer, and every single one just blew my socks off. I never thought I would enjoy something so much. It was cool stepping out of that comfort zone and just being present in the moment, eating from the land you just hiked on.
Dude, I forget who I said this to, but I was sitting there eating and I was like, how many people have ever had a 7-course meal of only mushroom dishes with a group of 30 people where no one's complaining about, everyone's just like, more mushrooms, more mushrooms.
Yep.
It was pretty cool.
They were all empty when we left.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Well, I think all of it was so much more rewarding based on the fact that we had earned it. Like we all said, right? Like we all exerted ourselves physically heavily to earn those meals, right? Like it was like the food tastes that much better to me always when I've like done some heavy lifting to get it, right? Like it there's just something special about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it used to be, man.
Yeah.
We used to have to make our own tortillas.
Yeah.
We used to have to milk the cow. We used to have to do all the work. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's really true. All right. Well, what else do we do? So day one, let's talk about day one. We wanted to take it easy on everybody. We knew we were going to kill you by day 3. We knew we were going to, make you guys work from basically the midpoint on. So we wanted to take it easy on you. We took you guys on a little coffee tour of a local coffee plantation. What'd you guys think about that?
That was a mind bender.
Okay.
I would have bet the farm before we went on the trip that would have been the least of the excursions that we did. I couldn't have been more wrong. There wasn't a least of the excursions, but I learned more. I thought I knew about coffee, but not only that, I mean, we saw some really cool mushroom species on a couple of the stumps and things there, and watched a cloud roll through there briefly. And I mean, we learned more about how they use, the different species of coffee as biological controls, and the way we did the tasting. I mean, I've seen tastings of coffee done, and I've actually participated in them. I've never seen it done like that. That you're smelling it, and then you're waiting 3 or 4 more minutes, and then you're doing it again. And,
I thought I was gonna get a certificate at the end of that. I'm not gonna lie.
It's just not in writing. That's all. We got a certificate.
Yes.
We've got the knowledge. We now, we now understand a lot more about that. But yeah, I was blown away by that particular excursion.
Nice.
Just real quickly, guys, sorry I hate to interrupt. I have to roll out, but I just wanted to say thank you again so much, Geeky and Natural State Mycology, Don King. Thank you guys all. I really had a blast on this trip. Like 10 out of 10 would do it again. If you guys are going to Costa Rica next year, I'll see you there. Like I'm coming.
Cool, man.
I had a blast.
Thank you, Jordan. You're my favorite driver. Driver.
Thank you. I played that loud music.
I never had that privilege. And Jordan, the coffee still smells like coffee.
It does. It does. Thank you, guys. Love y'all. Take care.
All right. See you, Jordan.
Hey, man.
See you, Jordan.
Oh, we have Brady bunched them.
There we go.
Brady Bunch. Okay. All right. I miss Jordan. I also miss Brady Bunchdom. Here we go.
It's a little less chaotic, yeah.
Yes. All right. So we eased in on that, and my whole thing was and again, I had a phenomenal time on the first Mexico trip where I met Natural State in person. Him and I had been pretty good friends online, but we had never met in person. Ironically, I think I've mentioned this, where I had tried for like 2 years to get on one of Don King's campouts. And then ironically, we're driving to the airport together to go to Mexico for a week. I had a blast there. It was very, very hardcore mushroom focused. And so one thing I really wanted to do with all this, and it didn't take long for us to agree on this, is like, people want to go on vacation. If you're going to go to Mexico, you got to do the Mexico things. So the region's renowned for its coffee. It's some of the best coffee in the world. Mm-hmm. So we had to go taste some freaking coffee, right? But then after that, I think we went to one of my favorite little markets to eat lunch. But then we went on a hike around, which for me is a special place because I love Gaston Guzman. I think it's so cool what he did for psilocybe species. Just a lover of psilocybe when it was very taboo to love psilocybe. And we got to hike in his territory around Innie Cole where he built his career. And I think I already know who's going to chime in first, but I'd love to hear what you guys thought about that simple little stroll through, the outskirts of Xalapa there.
Well, we saw the most amazing species, such a variety of mushrooms, and such a beautiful landscape. I would have enjoyed more time there and the opportunity to go back, but it was really mind-blowing to think that it was such a scientific garden, if you will, that many scientists, mycologists use to study. World class.
I mean, it's obvious why, right? It's a cool spot. It's barely outside of Xalapa, and yet you would never know it. You feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, and there's just countless mushrooms. You practically, I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say you're tripping over the mushrooms, and we weren't even into Hongusto. We weren't like, it wasn't crazy wet there. I don't think I've ever been there when it was just perfect mushroom weather, but I swear to God, it must just be like a mushroom paradise at that place.
Yeah, and we stayed on trail and saw thousand. Am I exaggerating? Correct me.
I don't know, not by much.
Yeah,
not by much.
It was a lot.
And the diversity was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many of them that very few people on the trip knew what some of these mushrooms were. Any place else that we went, somebody there knew what we were looking at. Yeah. But at this one, I was asking people, and I was like, I've never seen anything like that. Have you? It's like, nope.
Oh, so one of the ones we found this, what looked like a hypholoma. It was a very odd purple. Rolling Lens took a killer photo of it. I did too. And it was some super weird section. Hold on. I'm going to just pull it up real quick. It was, Wasn't
it coming out of like the wall?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like angled up. Like,
Casa de Goblin.
So it was like this weird hygrosabe. Sorry, it was hygrosabe that had this weird purple, and it ended up being in a very weird section that I'd never even heard of. And that wasn't there the last time we were there, and I cannot fathom if somebody has kept track of like all the recorded species from just that hike. I bet it's 800 to 1,200 species minimum would be my guess. But yeah, so that was day one, and I think that got everybody pretty excited. And we kind of got a good overview. And then day two, what do we do? Day two, we started off. We changed gears. We went somewhere completely different because one of our guides had just found this. He had a friend who, we worked out an agreement with the family to go check out this cow pasture in the middle of nowhere. And I don't know about you guys, but basically found every active field mushroom you could possibly think of. We didn't find cubes that particular,
not that day,
but everything else. And I just remember at one point in time, Don King's partner is just sitting down, just appreciating the vista. And I stopped for a moment and I was like, God dang, is this place gorgeous? Just, it was so pretty.
I think I got a picture of her actually sitting on that hillside.
Nice.
I was staring down the whole time we were up there. I don't think I took the time to even. I was just looking at the ground the whole time.
Yeah,
didn't stop.
Yeah. Now, didn't somebody? Who was the one that someone got a little too friendly with a bull? Who was that? Was that Cougar?
Yeah, that was
me. Was that
Actually, he got a little too friendly with me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been around animals my whole life, and generally, you know, I'm the guy that, like I had in Australia, I had this lady, I bent down and pet her dog. She's like, "Oh, I wouldn't do that. He's kind of weird." It's like I wasn't even looking at him. I was looking at her talking, kind of thing. So I wasn't worried about it when this bull just got a little young one, kind of sauntered up slow, and he actually put his head down a little, wasn't showing any other defensive postures, and I reached out and touched his head. Soon as I did that, he pushed against me and then just like shoved and just, you know, took me to the ground. All I did was just hang on his horn so I didn't end up underneath him. But cheeky little booger, yeah, he's I mean, he could have hit me really hard and he didn't.
They're strong.
He pushed against me and then shoved.
Leave it to Cougar. He was like the Feast of San Geronimo. He's like, I know there's bullfighting. I'm gonna get involved somehow, some way. There it is. We did not get video of that though, unfortunately.
I wish we did. I don't mind. Yeah. I wouldn't mind being that guy. Like we had a video of that. Y'all can show that to anybody you want. I'll tell that story as many times.
That's a good video. Yeah.
They're pretty. I mean, in general, they're pretty chill.
Yeah. I've never had that happen. Anytime I've been in fields like that and they walk up to you, you can rub them behind the ears and all that. But clearly the ones in Mexico must not get a lot of attention.
Not that one.
He's like, I didn't say you could touch me.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I'm trying to think. Oh, and I think this was the day where we really started getting into utilizing the hotel spa services. And I don't know how many people here got massages from the. I mean,
Abuela?
She had to be like a literal shaman of massage because that woman was astounding.
I got 2 from her.
You got
she
2.
Was awesome.
Oh,
she had
man.
Like elbows and forearms.
Did she do that thing for you? She did this thing at one point in time where she was just touching. I forget how she did. She's just like barely touching my head. And for like 1 second, I was like, why is she just touching my head? And then I think like I transported in time to another dimension. I saw like the core origin spot of the universe. And then I came back into my body and I was like, what the fuck just happened to me? That woman was
that the younger lady?
Gifted to say
you're talking about the younger lady.
The older lady. I only got one. It was with the older lady, but she was phenomenal.
Any head situation. I'm jealous. That sounds fun.
I got the 4 hands, so I got them both working on me at the same time the first night we were there.
Oh yeah. I remember you came back and you were like, I don't know. I think I didn't get the full hour. And I was like, oh man, that's.
Well, I was
like thinking, why didn't she get the full hour? And then you're like, oh, but they tag teamed me, and I'm like, shut up. You got what?
It was really lovely, and I was like, yeah, no, it was really late by the time we got in after the delays, and I was sort of tired after traveling, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna go to bed. They're like, well, it's already paid for. I'm like, okay. Ripped off all my clothes, laid on the bed. They're like, you're getting a 4-hand massage.
That's awesome.
See, you never say no.
That's
the secret message right there.
So, can I? So we going back to our Tuesday, the second day. One of the things that and Alex talked about it a little bit at the beginning is like it was it was really authentic being in that part of Mexico. And this is where we were coming down back out of the really bad road that not everybody could drive down.
Right.
Yep.
There were many of those. But
yes, there were.
I know what one you're talking about. Yeah.
But there was that church in the Monte Grande, and they had been preparing the saint, and Sarah, Don's partner, and Michael Risel's wife her partner went down, and they were in there talking to them as they were having the argument about who is going to carry the saint. And we came out and they were doing this parade and the clowns and the music. I mean, it was the most it was a really authentic, we had these just like little snippets of just like really intense, authentic experiences that you could not plan for.
No,
we didn't plan for that one. No, that was a gimme for sure. Yeah. And we
I
really
was worried y'all were going to drive off and I wasn't going to be able to jump out and get any pictures of that. I was like, oh, please stop. Please stop.
That felt like a Mexican tourist said, because that really, in a beautiful way, captured what I think Mexico like really encapsulates, you know?
Yeah. Agreed, man. I mean, yeah, I put that clip. I filmed some of their celebration as they were, hoisting their patron saint down the road. I included some of that in my little music video because I just thought it was such just that moment. You're just, when are you gonna get I'm not getting that moment again, I don't think. I mean, I could plan for it, but I don't even know if I get that.
Yeah, nope. They were late. I mean, they were in there having an argument over who was going to carry the saint and who's got the new dress, and all.
Yeah.
It came together. That was the magic. It came together.
They were like, well, all these white people are stopped waiting for us. We should probably get this going now.
We should probably get the Gringo show on the road.
Yes, exactly. And then Rolling Lens got a cool shot after they left. They were in front of this church that said Monte Grande on it. And there were these two young kids that dressed up in clown costumes, which was probably for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yep. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so funny to watch them because you could tell they were nervous or they didn't want to do it. You couldn't tell which it was. But he got a really cool shot of them like dragging behind a little bit. It was kind of
They were giving me like some hand signs. They were giving me some gang signs underneath their little
trying to be cool. Yeah.
Got to maintain the coolness while wearing the clown costume. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that was just one of those moments. Just like there was another one time when we were kind of lost because our GPS stopped working. And we stopped at a convenience store, and I don't know why that little moment, that was like one of the last days. Just like you were in this hole in the wall convenience store, and I don't know why it's the little things. Sometimes it's just the little things that get you.
It really was magical. I mean, our car broke down on the second day on the way, like,
yes. Yeah, you guys.
What about that?
But the local stepped in, and that was the epitome of kindness. It was like, even though we were out of town, we didn't obviously fit in. They were the kindest people. The most they bent over for you like you were a brother or a sister. Yeah, that was very beautiful. Yeah,
dude, I just remember Don saying he's like talking to the guy in the store because their rental car wouldn't start, and some guy was like, oh, there's a mechanic in town. And then the other guy's like, oh, yeah, he's right back there, actually. And the next thing you know, he's like showing you how to get your car started. And he gives you a can of carb cleaner. And yeah.
Just like serendipitous, which was kind of the that was the word of the week for some of us, I think, underneath it. Yeah, underneath it all.
A theme and of expectations.
Yes. Expectations. Yes. Man, I tell you what, some of the roads, the things we put those little rental cars through.
Don't say that on record.
I've been driving 4-wheel drives, and I drove a Toyota 72 Toyota Land Cruiser my entire adolescent life. Power lines going through mud that was doors deep. That place is a freaking challenge.
Oh yeah. Yes. The drivers, kudos to all the drivers.
Yes.
Yes.
Very professional.
I can remember many times when Leslie was like grabbing my shoulder going, don't kill me, Geeky. Please. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, we had one experience. I think it was coming home from where we had the mushroom dinner. There was a little bit of traffic due to construction or something. And our guide was like, we need to get some pulque on the side of the road.
Oh, pulque,
I think that girl's selling pulque over there. So all of a sudden, we're like rolling the windows down. you got pulque? You know, we're slowed down. We're going like 5 miles an hour in traffic. She comes running out with this 2-liter jug of it.
Yeah.
We throw some money
in
at it. We kept going.
Gotta get that pulque. Yep.
Got to.
That was delicious. I liked it.
Good. It was fun to try at least. One of them was a lot better than the other, I thought. But it was definitely fun to try.
Hey, at least you've had one you've liked. I've tried several and I just can't do it.
Hey, there we
It's
go.
an acquired taste for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, and what we're
takes a
talking
while.
about, what we're talking about for everybody that's not familiar is that they take there's a larger version of the agave plant. The name escapes me at the moment. It starts with an M, but they Maguey, yeah, and they cut the heart out, and then all the nectar bleeds down into the middle, and they scoop out up to 6 liters a day, and that ferments. And then you've got a healthy beverage that's similar to like a water kefir or a kombucha. Yeah, it's really good. Interesting.
Little sweet, little sour.
Yep,
It's
a little tart.
It's a little off.
Sometimes
for me,
it's
but
really slimy too.
Yeah, it can get thick. Like,
That's the part I can't do.
It's weird stuff. Yeah, the thicker stuff for me was weird too. I was like, nah, that's a little strange. But
I had it was more of a milky consistency, I guess. The one we got.
Did anybody eat any really good fresh fruit while we were there?
We had a lot of delicious fruit and interesting fruit drinks.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Tuna was my favorite. Tuna, the cactus. I thought it was actual tuna, but to my surprise, it was not. It was a delicious cactus beverage. And,
so good.
Man, Veracruz has got a lot of fruit. No short supply of fruit. So the agua frescas are always on point. We're pretty much wherever you go, although our hotel had some really good ones, and a lot of the places we went did as well. Let's do that. Let's talk. What was everybody's like favorite food experience there?
The food was amazing.
Okay, but what's your favorite though?
What was your favorite dish you ate?
Tito Lulu, what's your favorite one though?
Well, the fresh fruits and vegetables. So the guacamole was out of this world. The papaya, the mango, the coffee was my favorite.
Nice.
Dario.
It was fun, yeah. Dario,
you just get a big plate of all kinds of meat.
Yes. And you always think you're not ordering enough there, and you're always ordering too much.
Way too much. Way too
much. Yeah, I enjoyed the food where we stayed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hotels and like MycoTreks guest said, that's the best damn guacamole I've ever had in my life, and I've been eating guacamole my whole life. I don't know why it was so much better.
About that guacamole cracker. He was like, there's 2 things I regret on this trip. One of them was the guacamole. One of them was massage. He got the massage, so he's still talking about the guacamole that he missed.
So I was saying from the beginning when you had the mushroom dish, that was the best you ever had. When you said that somehow, okay, I could put away the FOMO about the guac. I was like, okay, I had the best mushroom dish. Amen.
At least, yeah, got one of them.
So, all right, did we cover? Oh, we didn't talk about Volcano. So we took everybody to a giant extinct volcano and made everybody climb to the top. Is steep the right word? A steep hike to the top?
Short but steep.
Very short but very steep. Very steep. But everybody got to the top. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? Did you guys like that? Should we keep doing the Volcano?
Oh, yeah. That was my
On Saturday when you can drive back there.
Yes. For sure. Yeah, man. Something about and we really didn't find too many mushrooms. I know a few people hiked down into the crater, which we found out was, maybe way dicier than we had anticipated. Yeah. Didn't find a lot of mushrooms there, but dear God, what a place. For me personally, it's like top 5, if not maybe top 3 coolest just things I've ever seen. I thought it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
We had several guide dogs there too.
Little doggies, yeah.
That's right.
There were a couple of varieties of plants I've never seen anything like. There was 2 species of ferns. I've never seen anything like them anywhere. There was a holly that was completely different than any holly I've ever seen. So, I mean, there was a lot of really interesting, flora there. But like you said, mushrooms, yeah, we didn't do too good on the mushrooms part of it. We saw a few fungi. I mean, that cool earth star that was right by the edge of the cliff, and a few things like that. But yeah, we didn't find too much otherwise fungally.
Yeah. Down in the crater, there was some, but yes, there still wasn't. I don't think it was maybe wet enough. Or at Don, I don't know what are your thoughts on that, Don King?
Yeah, I mean, really, like when we talk about the steepness of that side of the volcano, it kind of makes sense that it doesn't hold a lot of moisture, right? Like that's going to kind of drain pretty readily. So and it had been fairly dry for a little while before we got there, and then kind of rained a lot. But I mean, we were at what, 8,200 feet above sea level. Literally clouds, like you're looking down on them and they're moving into the volcano kind of as you're standing there. So yeah, some moisture, but yeah, I think it's like hard rock and yeah. But I think we did see a couple things here or there, right?
There were a few on the way,
a couple things like that. I think there's down around the outer edge, I'm sure there's some areas there where like water collects, and I'm interested in exploring that a little bit more.
I mean, height the rainy season, whenever that is, it could be completely different.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like great territory, but like you said, I just don't think we had that extra mushroom battery that so many of the mushroom species require to fruit reliably.
Right. Yeah, and it's true. The crater's so steep that right along it would have to be heavy rains. I'm sure there are mushrooms there because it's alpine. It's got to hold on to a little bit of it, but it felt pretty dry when we were there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't. I wasn't looking too hard.
Soils drain really fast too.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I think we only have Myco Dandy was going to be on. She's not on. But a couple people stayed a little bit later. I thought that was really cool that 2 of the couples wanted to hang out a little bit longer and do some other stuff. Tito Lulu, you guys went and did some stuff with Myco Dandy and her husband, right? What did you guys go do?
We did. We visited El Tahin, which is one of the pyramids, and it was extraordinary. We had a guide, a professor from the University of Xalapa, who was able to explain what we were seeing.
Oh, cool.
And as most of the group visited the museum at the Archaeological Museum in Xalapa at the university, that was the most phenomenal museum I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, the Olmec Museum, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So those artifacts came from a lot of those artifacts came from that site.
Oh, wow.
So that was really took it deeper to hear about the lifestyle, the life, all the trading and the big culture that existed there in Mexico. So that was extremely fascinating. Awesome. I want to say we stayed in Veracruz, which is the largest port in Mexico. And we stayed in a hotel that was over 600 years old.
What?
That had been remodeled, but the hotel itself was remodeled, but in a building. The buildings there were phenomenal also. So all Spanish Mexican tiles, and just really a cool place.
Nice.
So cool.
Well, here's what I want to know now. What was everybody's favorite mushroom that you saw? Was there one? Now, if you don't have one, that's fine. But
I think Jen and Alex are muted, maybe.
I just unmuted us. Alex was responding. We were.
Oh, never mind.
Neo Halipensis.
Neo Halipensis, yes.
It was like finding a needle in a haystack, and I found one.
Well, it's easier to find a needle in a haystack than it is to find a Neo Halipensis.
Yep.
Yes.
Nice. Good job. That is definitely a sense of accomplishment. Now, when you find it, though, the trick is when you turn away to tell somebody, hey, guys, I found a Neo Halipensis, and then you turn back and you're like, wait a minute.
What a
Even
leprechaun
move.
might
Where did
grab
it
it.
go?
Yes.
Yes. The leprechaun took it. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
my
goblin.
favorites
The
were
goblin. That's right.
just the large fruitings of Zapatocorum.
Oh yeah,
was really cool. I mean, we got to see those on the last trip that we were on, but these were just starting to fruit out well. So we had some that were like fully open and some that were starting to form, and all the moss and everything around them. It was a completely different environment than where we'd found them on the last trip.
Yep. That one was pretty special for me. Yeah, I think that might be mine too.
I'm so happy I found that Amanita muscaria when we were on the
yeah, dude.
I mean, this thing.
Oh, you got to tell that story. That's such a cool story.
Yeah, so we're just hiking through there. We're really just hiking
where we were.
Yeah, we were. Where were we? We're outside of Ongos de Capre, but
high altitude,
Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I think outside Las Vegas. So, but we're just hiking. We're hiking to get to the hike, right? We're just kind of hiking to get to where the bigger trees were, and there are these big kind of bushes, like wiry, like dry, arid.
I think they're like yucca almost.
Something like that, but yeah, it was real. And I see this big red thing. I'm like, oh, it's like a ball, right? Like kid's ball or something in the center of it, like 2 feet off the ground. And I look and I'm like, that's an Amanita muscaria. Did these ladies plant that here? Because there's no way. And it was actually attached, and I pulled it out. It was a giant, beautiful mushroom. I think I've only ever found one of those ever before. I think that was in Colombia, because we don't have those in Ohio. We don't have the red ones, especially.
Not the red ones.
Anyway, yeah, that just like it catching my eye. Me, thinking there's no way this thing's a mushroom. Right? It's like trash or something. I reach in and there it is. That was pretty spectacular.
I mean, the stem on it was like this long.
Huge. Yeah.
I've never seen the muscaria with a long stipe like that on it before. Didn't you use that one, Geek, in your video? Don't you have a picture of that?
I don't, but Rolling Lens took a hilarious. So I took a photo of Don like making a face. But yeah, Rolling Lens took one.
Yeah.
I'm like pretending like it's my baby. We'll put that one up on the. We'll get that one up.
Open up on the table.
Pretty funny. Because I'm so serious. I seriously look like it's my newborn child. Oh, yeah, that was cool. I forgot about that story. I mean, in general, those are I don't live in the Pacific Northwest, so to see some of those boletes and Amanita that size was cool.
Giant porcinis, like
huge.
What the.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was maybe my favorite part was finding the porcinis, and then that meal was just insanely good.
I'm with you, man.
Oh my god.
And then we also found on one hike way down this trail, we found two Don, do you remember those huge, I can't find a photo of them, but those really large, I think they were Amanita Caesar mushrms.
Yeah.
But they were truly like well over a foot tall. They were the biggest I'd ever seen.
Huge. The one where the cap was opened up. Yeah, we saw those just right along the side of the trail. And then on the way back up, I examined a little bit further and found the little eggs. Right, they come. These Caesar amanitas come out of these sort of white eggs, kind of pop out, and they were kind of still buried under the leaves. So that was a fun little discovery too.
Oh yeah. So I just noticed someone was asking about getting clean field prints. I can tell you my favorite thing anyone's ever told me about this, and it works very well, is when you take your caps home and you're printing your caps, don't use the first print. Let it drop some spores. You don't want a thick print. Just let it drop some spores, move it and discard that, or just put that in your like backup, worst case scenario, garbage prints. It will eliminate the vast majority of all the contam from a wild print. The other thing you can do is if you are swabbing off of that, Natural State was just talking about this. I would typically never take from the edge of the print for the same reason, because that's closer to where people touch. But Natural State was talking about something very cool. Just the lightest touch with the swab, that will definitely get you enough spores to germinate. So there's that. What's that?
I just said you don't need many.
You just really only need a few.
Two.
You don't need a lot. Yeah. So
and then the other one that Ed Grand taught me was, if you bring Vaseline with you and some Petri dishes, you can actually dab the Vaseline on the top of the Petri dish lid. You can just pluck out, you'd have to bring some tweezers or something, but pluck out one piece of gill, touch that to the dab of Vaseline, and then put that plate at about an 80-degree angle, and it will eject spores that should create a very clean germ plate for you.
Oh, wow.
There's a bunch of little tricks you can do. At the end of the day, man, if you are not messing with water agar and you are messing with wild prints, I mean, you got to start pouring some water agar. I have tried everything. 3 different kinds of antibiotics. Trenching also can work in a pinch sometimes, but man, if you just start with the water agar, it solves a lot of your problems.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier.
Real fast. So I hope that helps for, I think it was Cultivar Cal who asked that question.
Yes.
And then I think somebody else earlier asked what we found. I can tell you what all species we found if you give me a second.
I can start going over them.
Yeah, you can go for it.
Cubensis, Cyanescens, Cinctulus, Zapotecorum, Neohalapensis. We found possible Hymii and possible, I think, Hushigani.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if we found a Hushigani, but definitely, I'm pretty certain that one was a Hymii.
Yeah.
We'll wait for Alan or somebody to chime in on the INAT of it all, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then Youngensis, the ones we didn't find, I don't think.
Also.
Huh?
Serulescens also.
Oh yeah, Caerulescens.
Or yeah.
3
we pretty much found
species, I think.
Everything but the absolute rarest, like Bandolarensis. And then what's the other one? Hold on. Give me a second. I'll look it up. But I can tell you what there is no short supply of there. When you're in the cow pastures, if you can't find a pan-cyan, I can't help you. They're just literally everywhere. We got lucky. We found some subtropicalis, which are usually a little bit harder to find.
Quite a few.
I also think you guys found Fagicula or Fagicola, however you want to pronounce it.
That was the other one. That's right. It was those 2. Yeah.
But not certain on that. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of actives.
A lot of stuff.
Mean, the majority of the actives that exist there. Oh yeah. Stealthy said Mexicana. Definitely found. Yeah. And not only did we find some Mexicana, they're usually small, really teeny tiny little mushrooms. We found some pretty nice sized Mexicanas too.
Yeah, 3-4 inch tall at least. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Some nice ones. And then I think Happy found something super rare, or very maybe not super rare, but pretty uncommon to find it in the field. But I can't remember what he found. He's not on there. I'd ask him. But yeah, we found. I mean, most. We found most. What did we find? We found just I did not go home sad that we didn't find everything.
I think people's lists were checked.
Yeah.
And then some.
Yeah. We had
now.
plenty.
There are not too many places on this earth where you're going to find that many psilocybe species in such a tiny geographic region.
At the same time of year, right?
At the exact same time.
Yeah, the same week.
Yeah. Yes. Within days of each other, pretty much.
Yep.
It's crazy. But I mean, again, that's the cloud forest, right? It's so temperate. There is not a massive shift. You basically have a rainy season and not a rainy season. Otherwise, the temperature doesn't change massively. So you get pretty lucky. When the mushrooms come in, they're just everywhere. We're in the middle right now. I'm not there, sadly, but Augusto is in full swing down there. A lot of our guides are sending us a lot of cool photos of a lot of mushrooms. So
I've been watching their pictures. I'm a little jealous.
Oh yeah,
right.
Getting excited. I don't know what Kaz just said. Something about cauliflower mushroom.
Yes.
Did we find a cauliflower mushroom? I don't even remember that.
Where was that, Don? Do you remember? Were you with us when we found that? I think you were. We found a big old cauliflower mushroom. Maybe that was that was in Salvatierra, I guess.
Yeah, didn't sound familiar.
Yeah, I think that was in Salvatierra, but yeah, we found a giant one. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, he said Happy found it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was Happy. That's right. Yep.
Some good eating right there.
Yeah, I never saw that. Oh yeah, he said on the way to Salvatierra. Okay.
Yeah, we considered bringing it back, but it was like, we still had to hike all the way up. So.
Yep. Yeah. So I think we covered most everything I wanted to cover. I definitely enjoyed getting to know everybody. There were a few people, I didn't know you guys from anybody, and I had an absolute blast hanging out with you guys. I think Don King said it really well. If we, find ourselves next year on this trip again, and some of you guys aren't there, we're definitely gonna miss you guys, right? Like it felt the group gelled really well, and it wasn't just 30 of the exact same person. There is a lot of different personalities, but the unifying force of loving mushrooms is all it takes. We got along just fine. Oh, Cass says, sorry, I'm just reading. Cass says he has pictures. Yeah, dude, you have to send us pictures of that. We'll put it up on the MycoTreks site.
Yeah, it's nice to go on a trip with a bunch of people that you've never met or you haven't met in real life, and there's not a bunch of egos that need to be navigated. Different age groups, different walks of life, different, life experiences, you name it. And yet somehow, like you said, the unifying force, those little mycelial filaments.
Yep. Agreed. And that long breakfast table.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The long breakfast table was great because you automatically were going to sit with somebody different every day. You didn't know who you're going to chit chat with. Yeah, that worked out. It made me feel like it was on the Waltons.
And the car rides help with that too, right? We're stuck in the car when we're going places, so we all get to chit chat and get to know each other. So yeah, next time maybe we'll make it mandatory for people to cycle out the cars they ride in.
Mandatory car cycles.
Musical chairs. Yeah.
More things to navigate.
Interesting.
Just what I need. That's
yeah.
on you. You can do that one. Yeah.
I'll facilitate.
Well, guys, I know I had a great time. It meant a lot to get, have you guys come up intermittently during the trip and just be like, we love this. This is great. You're doing a good job. We worked really hard on this trip and we wanted it to be phenomenal. We wanted you guys to just love this region of Mexico and maybe deepen your love for mushrooms. If that happened, I'm happy. So
it did. I mean, Michael started talking about the Sweat Lodge. That's a long part of my history and heritage. And I've had the opportunity a couple of times or was invited to do. They call it temazcal. They don't call it a sweat, but I've never had the opportunity to experience it. So that was a really cool thing. And then to hear the facilitator tell us that this was his first time that he was doing that ceremony in English, which was actually bilingual, but the fact that he did it as well as he did in English was really, truly amazing. And then at one point in it, he's telling me that it's based on the same exact heritage that I learned from myself, which is the Lakota people. It used to be the Central Plains, now North and South Dakota. So it was really interesting.
I wasn't so I didn't mean to forget that. I was not around for that. I watched him stoking the coals and all that, getting ready for it. But how was that experience? I don't think I honestly got too much feedback from anybody on that.
I was bummed. I missed it too. You guys smelled so good afterwards.
I mean, that's one of the beauties of that ceremony is that how it cleans out the body. That you're sweating the pores out, and I mean, one of the other cool things that it took me years to figure out was that the genius for me part of that ceremony is that if you're going to be exposed to that level of heat and you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, it's so hot, you're never going to make it. So the really cool part about that ceremony is it causes you to drop your armor. Because it's really the only way you can be in there and be comfortable with it. I mean, the sweating part of it, everybody's different. Some people just don't dig that part. Me, I couldn't care less. I always feel like I'm at home when I'm in there. Was it hot enough for me? By the fourth round of it, I was up on my knees instead of sitting, cross-legged. So I was getting a bit more heat. So it was enough. But in his defense, excuse me, that temazcal is so much bigger than most lodges I've ever been in that it takes a lot to heat it and modulate it, properly. And also one that's a fixed position like that, unlike the native version, which is usually just a frame that gets covered over when you use it. If you get it way too hot, it is not easy to bring it back down. So you do have to kind of ramp it up slower. And, realizing that most of the people in there had not been in one of these before, it was good of him to do it that way. He definitely made a point of saying, my words, not his, that this is not a warrior sweat.
It was the sweet sweat.
It really was. They did a fantastic job with it. And I asked him, he at one point I asked him how long he'd been doing it. And he said he's been doing it for only 7 years. It's like, in 7 years, I wasn't anywhere near that level. So, I mean, he really does have a really sweet spirit, and so did his cohort.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Man, did I forget anything? I feel bad now because we almost got out of here without talking about the sweat lodge. I think that was.
Did Myco want to share?
I think Michael's been frozen. Is Michael frozen?
Oh, maybe. Is he?
Maybe.
Am I?
He is.
Your voice isn't.
I'm gonna take him off.
He was so quiet there for a little bit. I wasn't sure if
either that or he's meditating.
Yeah, heavily. Yeah, Buddhist meditation.
Okay. He can come back. All right.
Yes. Is there anything else we left out?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Any of the trips? I mean, we've got all those covered, right?
Pretty sure.
I think we did a good job.
I mean, to me, the mark of a really successful trip was it better than you expected it to be? And if you were going to do it again exactly the way you did it, would you go do it? And both of those answers for me are yes.
Nice.
So to me, that's the mark of a true success, is that at the end of the day, I would do that exact same trip again. Now, that being said, of course, I'm all for the potential of being able to go to Costa Rica next year. So y'all get on that.
We're working on
it.
it.
Fabian to Costa Rica, though.
Right.
There you go.
We haven't talked about Fabian, so we clearly haven't covered it all.
You're right. Well, you should take the lead on that one.
Okay, I'll work on it. Start my little Facebook
Hey,
chat.
Did you want to share something about the sweat lodge?
Oh yeah, I could say something about that. It was a kind of a focal point for me. I actually put some intention into a healing for me.
Nice.
But it's interesting because I was having some trouble with a macrodose. It would never work. I'd take a lot and nothing would happen. So I made that intention. I did the sweat. At some point, I felt some pretty interesting energies going around there. I had collected some specimens. At the end of the trip, I put them into microwell plates. They are growing nicely. But I ate the rest of them. And a little something happened and it made me want to sing, but I didn't want to sing in the place we were at. It seemed a little too public and I might irritate some people really close to it. But the actual healing happened about 3 days after I got home and I took a microdose. And a really interesting thing happened I won't get into, but more visual and more symbolic and healing and still maybe in need of a little bit of integration.
Nice, dude. Well, I mean, just that you planned and cared and had an intent for it, that is, we've talked about this on the show before. It's important. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it for sure. So, and I can say I watched you on this trip and I know you came wanting to get some things out of the trip and I'm hoping you did. I think you did. I'm glad you did. Nice. Cool, man. Well, man, I love all you guys. I had the time of my life. There was one moment in the trip where I'm just like, we just brought 30 people down here and we're just cruising around, just loving fucking mushrooms, loving Mexico, loving the people we're with. This is great. I'm having the time of my life. So
it's pretty crazy for how large of a group we had, as everybody's mentioned. Just the fact that everybody meshed so well and seamlessly, even when we were like split up into different groups and intermingling, everybody got along to such a degree. It was, to me, that was actually probably my favorite part, was getting to know everybody and seeing that, just seeing how everybody just came together and clicked. That was exceptional. That was really cool.
We went to a cool place. If we took a group of 30 people to Topeka, Kansas and toured cornfields, different aspects of our personality might have come out. Luckily, we went to spectacularly amazing places.
Yeah.
And we were all just too busy going, holy shit, this is so cool. The whole time, I don't think we even had time to worry about any of that stuff. Yeah. And I'm telling you, the Jen and Alex and Tito Lulu, you guys came in thinking you were just going to look for some entalomas and some hypomycetes and some shrimp of the woods. And you guys got a whole complete Mexico experience. So, and you guys did great with that.
You did.
So
thanks for hooking up the second cow pasture hike, Cougar. Thanks for driving. I thought we were gonna be like tromping through some more cow pastures. What do we?
I'm sorry we still didn't get to do the other UV hike. We just ran out of time. We'll do it next time.
Yeah,
next
my
time.
fault. My fault for drinking like the water.
Man, it's so crazy too because I just kept bringing people almost every night, and I just in my head I was like, we brought everybody, right? I thought we've done this 100 times, but we didn't. That's on us.
You didn't make it either.
I didn't make it either. No.
Next time.
I was beat. I'm beat. I'm not going on another hike after dinner.
Especially when you've already showered for the day, right? Like you get back from having a long hike, you've showered, you're like, do I want to go out into the woods again? It's worth it though. It's fun to do at least once. It's definitely worth it.
So
Man,
go ahead.
I was gonna say Marcus got some really cool photos. Happy got some amazing night hike photos. Don got some cool photos.
Yep.
Yeah, we definitely got some good stuff. So even if you guys didn't get to go, I'll definitely do a little night hike post one of these weeks. Everybody can see all the cool photos from those, and yeah, it's fun. UV flashlights. They're fun. You can just go in your backyard and that's fun.
I did walk around with the
Don't
UV
use them in the
flashlight.
house.
Yeah, don't go into your bathroom. Do not go.
And do not ever use them in a hotel room.
Your bed sheets.
You will check out of a hotel if you go into a hotel room with that light.
Oh my god, that made me so I was at MycoFest last weekend with Don King, and we went on a night hike, and at one point we just lost. I was with a group and Don was with another group, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, where the hell did Don go? But at one point in time we're all looking at stuff, and Appalachian Ash like shines her light on my shirt, and it's like one of those like light, athletic shirts or whatever. And there's just one little circle stain on it that the light is showing up. And she's like, what is that, Geeky? And I'm like, I don't know what that is. But yeah. Yes, be careful where you shine that flashlight. You might regret it.
And Geeky, I know you have passively mentioned it before, but I've had the pleasure of watching your music video a couple times. And
oh, cool, dude.
I cannot overstate how like amazingly funny and
yeah, dude,
great it is. It's just
thanks,
it's
man.
so great. It's
funny. People
brings you right back.
People keep saying, "Bro, that's so hard." I'm like, I was kind of I wanted to be serious about it, but I was kind of being tongue in cheek.
But clever. Yeah, so much fun, man. Like
it's so well edited.
I'm gonna do more. I had fun, man. I forgot how much I love making music, and rapping about mushrooms is fun. So we'll probably have to do some more of that.
Yeah, people need to check that out for sure.
Yeah. I heard
and if
it
that
when you're
can get you going into wanting to go to Mexico looking for mushrooms, I don't know what does. Yes.
What were you saying, Jen?
I was gonna say he was playing the song for Aaron at the museum, and as I was sitting over there, then like that night I was dreaming about that rap video, like the rap, like it pervaded my dreams. I was like, he was playing, I was like sitting off, having a little bit of a moment and listening to it, but then that night I was like, okay,
it's catchy. Yeah,
it is
catchy.
I like the video.
Are catchy. Man, I tell you what. I had a lot of ambitious plans, but holy cow, I underestimated how much work, running the trip was.
Yeah.
I had to like sneak out. I went out one morning for about a half an hour and just roamed around the woods. And then another time I was with Edgar and Michael and and eventually Don got there, and I got to the spot and I was like, okay, before I look for a single mushroom, I'm just going to do one take. And I just did. And then I did that at Dario. I did those 3 places. That's all I had time for, but it worked out. Put it together, had fun. You guys get to, reminisce.
Yeah.
You guys were all really great hosts. I mean, like I remember like on Tuesday when we were at the market, like I had a banana peel and, natural state. You're like trying to eat and you're like trying to hop up and you're like, let me throw that banana peel away from you. You're like, no, like I literally can do it myself. You're like, no, I'm here for you. So I mean, but I was, but I mean, you guys were all really awesome, felt very taken care of. And like, thank you for, all that you did to really just make it a really fabulous and It was a really wonderful trip. Can't recommend it enough. Looking forward to going. I was like, Alex, I was like, yeah, I want to go back next year. And he's like, to the same place. And I was like, yeah.
Kind of.
I was like, you can stay home. I'll go by myself. That's okay.
I'm telling you, you could
checking on
easily
Tom yet.
see me retiring down there. I love it down there. I love it down there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Lots of shoe stores in Xalapa.
Plenty of those.
Yeah, I tell you what, there was one point, so Happy, I'm gonna tell a story for Happy since he's not here. I forget, I think we were driving to Xalapa from Veracruz, and he's just like looking around and getting used to things. He definitely was a little anxious about it was his first trip out of the country. You know, he'd heard all the cartel and this, that, and the other thing. And they're like halfway down the road to Xalapa. He goes, holy shit. I go, what? He goes, they just brainwash you, don't they? And I was like, what? He's like, I mean, this is just a country where people live. I'm like, sure, there are some shitty towns. There's some places in Mexico you don't want to go, but that's not this place. Yeah, border towns, or maybe, you know, some hot spots or whatever. And he said on a couple other occasions how just comfortable and in love with that place he was. And he's like, I'm going next year. I can't wait to go again. Yeah. You come back and it puts some stuff into perspective. It definitely slows your roll a little bit.
Yep.
Makes you appreciate things maybe you took for granted before. Yeah.
Hot water sometimes.
Oh, yes. So yeah. We had some glitchiness with the hot water. There is not as much hot water in general in Mexico as
it's a rarity.
You might hope there is. Yeah. I guess maybe if you go to Cancun in the all-inclusive resort, you're gonna get some hot water. Yeah. In Xalapa, not always. And then the other thing that does happen, the power will just go out for kind of no reason. Yeah. We were at the Anthropological Museum about to go have a good time, and they're like, well, we can't pay by credit card because we don't have any power right now. We're like, oh, I guess you're right. There is no power here. So yeah, couple, you know, but these are all things that, and then same with the roads. Some of the back roads, holy cow.
Especially in torrential rain.
Yeah.
On dirt and gravel roads where things wash out.
Oh yeah.
Man, I don't know if Don went down the same parts, but we went on a hike one day with Edgar, and then you met up with us later. Like you came in late. There were a couple roads we went in there where I'm pretty sure the width of the road was maybe a couple inches narrower than the width of the wheelbase of that car. It was dicey. But nobody died. So
and we all had a good time.
Exactly.
And we're all still friends.
And we're all still friends, yes.
Yep.
Well, there was a bunch of other people who, you know, time commitments, schedule commitments, other personal reasons weren't able to be on the show tonight. I you know, want to thank all you guys for participating in the trip as well. Truly, everybody was essential to creating the cool vibes that we had on this trip, for sure.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming. I know you guys were saying thank you to us, but we couldn't have done it without guests, right? Like there would have been no trip without you guys signing up and trusting us to take you on a fun trip. So thank you, really.
Well, I have several friends who do various tours, and a couple that actually live in Mexico and do things, you know, not similar at all to this, but it took them years to have a successful trip. I mean, you know, there's all kinds of glitches, and I mean, these two of them are actually native. So, I mean, they live in that area. They had, you know, the relationships with vendors and stuff like that. But, getting it down to, timing and, the nuances and things like that, and yet still allowing enough space for things to be better than you planned is genius. So if that's you guys' model, you're going to be successful.
We just want to all we really want to do is keep taking people to cool mushroom places. Yep. Just, we really believe in this idea of, right? Like, I like to mountain bike. There are companies that do tours for mountain bikers, right? So the concept is very simple. It's go to another place and do a thing you love. We didn't invent it. We're just trying to do that for mushrooms. Like, a lot of people love mushrooms right now, but they wanna go to the coffee plantation in addition to finding Neohalapensis in an old growth cloud forest, right? They want to do all the things. So glad you guys loved it. Can't wait to do it again next year. We got a short list of other places we're going to add. We're also working on trying to put together some domestic trips. For everybody, just we'll make a more formal announcement, but we're definitely doing this trip again next year. It'll be almost the exact same dates, July 13th through the 20th, which is that same week in July. We entertain the idea of scooching the trip around maybe a couple weeks later, or at least 2 or 3 weeks. And Natural State was like, "This worked. Let's just roll with it again." And I couldn't argue with that.
Great.
So
yeah,
I think that's probably the way to go until you absolutely know how to move it.
Yep.
Instead of just trying to make it better. I would say leave it as it is.
Yep. Now, to be fair, all other things are not as tenuous as trying to pick the right time to go find mushrooms. Don King can attest to this. Anybody that's been to a Namaforay, I went last year, and I get there day one, and I overhear 2 of the organizers talking, and they're like, 7 of the big hot shot mushroom people that usually come to this bailed and are now like in Tennessee right now because that's where all the rainfall was. So, right, it's not always going to be perfect. I think there are going to be years where it's better, and I think there maybe be years it'll be worse, but we're setting the trip up where even if we don't find 100 Neohalapensis and 780,000 Zapatocorum, the trip's still going to be awesome. So we're setting it up. We're meticulously pining over how to set the trip up so that it works regardless of quantity of mushrooms. So, but yeah, that's tricky, right? That's always a tricky part. And I think other locations we go to can be even trickier. Tropical places will be even trickier to get the timing right. Man, I'll tell you, I'd love to get up to like Croatia, Estonia, those
Finland.
kind of places. Oh yeah, dude. Some of those places would be amazing. We just have to balance cost, right? Like some people have been saying in the chat, Australia, 100%.
New Zealand.
The plane ticket, is on par with the cost of the trip itself. So it becomes cost prohibitive for some people. So we got to just balance out where to go. Poland, 100%. I have only heard astonishing things about Poland in general. There's just a lot of places we can go and look for mushrooms. I just had a guy talk. I'm not going to reveal the place, but I got a guy talking in my ear right now going, I've been going to this place for like 20 years. There's 100 undescribed species. You guys got to go to the spot. So, and there's a lot of spots like that, right? There's a lot of undiscovered territory, and we're going to go to some of them. So
big world. Yep.
Big world. Yeah. That's the whole, we had a couple people, sacred spots, and you're taking this guy's spot. And first off, we got local guides that I built those relationships with personally, either through the trip that we did, the first time with Alan Rockefeller. I had a couple fans of the show meet up, and I made friends with them that way. Other guys,
the artist that did that Maria Sabina mural.
Yeah, exactly. So all these people came by way of the podcast, and then by way of connecting with local guides and finding other local guides. And, these guys all 100% communicated the importance of, protecting sites and all that stuff. But I can tell you this, we've now found our own sites. We've found new spots. Mexico is full of psilocybe mushrooms. No one's going and picking them all. No one's ruining anything. Like, if you think that, you should just save up some dollars, whether you go on a trip with us or you go by yourself, you'll figure it out. That's just not true. We're not ruining anything. We are there trying to nurture a love for the mushrooms there. And whether it's through Hongos de Cofre, whether it's building relationships with people who are creating, preserves to protect these areas, this is what we're all about. We're not about raping the land. We're not about screwing people over. We put a lot of money into Mexico to take care of Mexico. That is where our heart is, because that's what we love. Anyway, sorry, I get a little upset there. Every once in a while, I got people coming at me, and I'm like, man, you just got me all wrong, dude. You just do not know who I am.
Haters will be haters.
Haters will be haters. But as you just heard, and if you need to talk to more people, if you're still skeptical, if you're not sure, if you want to go, but you can't convince yourself to go because somebody talked in your ear and told you.
Contact any one of us.
I can give you a list of 20 to 30 people you can talk to find out what they think about the trip. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry, I left on that little drama-filled note there. I cannot wait to explore the world with like-minded people, taking in and appreciating rare and unique mushrooms together. It sounds like a wonderful, wonderful activity to be involved in. That's what Don King, Natural State, and myself are trying to do here. We're going to be bringing rolling lens for sure next year. He's going to keep taking phenomenal photographs. This guy is blessed. He is gifted. He is an artist. We're going to keep bringing him along to capture all of the spectacles that we're taking in on a pretty regular basis. So, yeah. All right, guys. I kept you way longer than I thought I was going to. It's okay, though. Sorry, I'm reading some. Yes, Poland, guys. Poland is definitely on our radar. Any of the Eastern Europe, Northern Eastern Europe, the forests up there are just bonkers. They're just insane mushrooms. Yes. So if you guys have ideas, if you want to go somewhere but don't want to go there by yourself and you want to convince us that we should go there, by all means, throw ideas out. We got a nice short list that we're going to work off of for the time being, but we're pretty receptive to being encouraged to explore some other places. Not a problem.
Especially, I would say probably domestically, if anybody's like, hey, locally, I've got this really sweet area that I really like, and you want people to come, you want to share it with people and, allow people to explore it and experience it, then yeah, definitely. That's that would be a big one too. Like you mentioned, we'll be looking to do more domestic trips.
Yeah, we're hoping to we've been talking about Natural State kind of said this first, I think. But we want, not everybody can afford to go on a $3,000 trip. So we get that. And we want to be able to do some more local things. So I know Don King and I would like to put together something in our neck of the woods around here by Ohio. Natural State lives by the Ozarks. The Ozarks, speak for themselves. Definitely some good foraging to be done down there. Obviously the Pacific Northwest, but we're open to hear about little nooks and crannies that maybe people don't talk about so much. Northern Michigan might be another one of those places. So yeah, we're definitely looking to do some more much lower cost trips domestically. There's a lot of people that have kids, so they want kid-friendly trips. So yeah, we're trying to do all that because people love getting together. People love MycoFest. They love Telluride. They love psychedelic convergence. They love all these events because there's a growing wave of people that love mushrooms a lot, and they love hanging out with other people who love them a lot. So, yep. All right, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate hearing from all you guys. Miss you guys. Hopefully we can hang out soon.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us on. This was awesome.
It was fun seeing everybody.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man.
All right, guys.
Everybody.
Hey, good
Take
seeing
care.
you guys.
Get some sleep.
Bye.
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 All right, let me figure out how to take everybody off. All right, guys, that's the show. 2 hours. I'm getting better at this. I'm learning to pare it down a little bit. One day maybe I'll just even figure out how to do a 1 hour focused episode. I don't know. I have ADHD. Probably not. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it's a little self-indulgent. I tried not to. I was going back and forth. Should I do this? Should I not? But I really think we did something special. I think the group we had was amazing, and I wanted to give them a chance to talk about it. So we did it, and now we can move on. And it's here. If you want to watch it, if you want to reminisce, if you want to, ask us some questions about the trip, you can reach out to anybody that went on the trip. You can reach out to me, Natural State, Don King. If you want to talk to a certain person, I can probably help you get in contact with them. So yeah. Anyway, next week, if all goes well, I'm going to have a new rising Instagram star. She does some really cool content, very educational focused. I learn a lot from watching her stuff, and hopefully we get to find out a little bit more about her, what makes her tick, what motivated her to start doing educational content on mushrooms, and should just be a good time. So anyway, until next week, go grow some mushrooms.